Mahomes. Now, feud might be a little strong, but I don't know, you tell me. Kansas City Royals catcher Salvador Perez lost a bet with Brett Phillips. Had to don the Brady jersey during batting practice, but the jersey didn't do all the talking. Take a listen to Perez as he walked off the field.
I think Mahomes the best.
So the Royals captioned that video with, "Sometimes words speak louder than actions." Well, obviously Brady, who sees everything, saw it and replied with, "Nah, I think actions always speak louder than words." Well, Mahomes, who also sees everything, saw that and responded to Brady saying, "Well, I guess we'll see in 20 years. Gentlemen, we got a lot of ground to cover here, and we got former All-Pro Brian Westbrook with us to break it all down. Brian, you've been involved in a fake feud or two over the years. What do you think it would take for Mahomes to eventually pass Brady as the GOAT?
Well, good morning, Jenna. Good morning, Joey. Good morning, guys. How's it going? You know, I think it's going to be really hard for Patrick Mahomes to be able to catch Tom Brady, especially after this past season and what happened. But in order for him to catch him, these three things will have to happen. Number one, longevity. Tom Brady's already played for 21 years. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to go a long way into his career to come close, but I think he will eventually beat his passing numbers as well as his touchdown numbers. Number two, you talk about consistency. And I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes' play has to be at a consistently high level, but also he's going to have a great play around him. You're talking about the talent around him. He's going to have good players there. And I think Andy Reid probably is just as important as far as consistency goes. And number three, he's going to have to get 5. He's going to have to get 5 rings. We already know that Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw have 4. For Patrick Mahomes to be in the conversation, he has to get 5. He doesn't necessarily have to get 7. And, Brandon, when I think about it, if he could do those 3 things, which are almost impossible to be able to do, I think that's when he enters the conversation of the GOAT. And then we can have the conversation between him and Tom Brady.
Right. Well, first, before we even jump in that conversation, I mean, we really have to look at these tweets. I think we may be overlooking the realness of these tweets. Tom Brady is one of my favorite guys to follow on social media, Instagram after games. He always has some amazing highlights and some amazing stories. It's always phenomenal. Even Twitter, we've seen Tom Brady before actually go back and forth and banter with guys, like good banter. But I don't know if this is banter. Like, I mean, was this orchestrated? Like Patrick Mahomes just came out and made a tweet. Like he said what he said. Tom Brady saw it. He responded. And then obviously the rest is history. I think this is something that we really need to pay attention to. But to answer the question, look, there's so much going against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what Tom Brady has done in his 21 years, 7 Super Bowls, is nothing short of godly. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady is a god, but this is God's hands all over this boy. Like, for you to play in the National Football League, I don't care at what position, 21 years, that's amazing. I've seen guys in week 8, week 9 literally take tape and tape their arms together, their legs together just to go through warm-ups. So for this dude to do it at this level, to do it at this level for this long, it's unbelievable. Joy, you know this. Your brother played at a high level for a long time. How many times have you seen your brother, Jason Taylor, the great Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, tape his body up to get through a season, overcome injuries? We've seen this before. So that's number one, because the injury rate is 100% in the National Football League. After one practice, everybody in the National Football League has something. They're dealing with something. You get through preseason, you're dealing with 2, 3 things. You get through a few weeks, you're dealing with something. When you look at Tom Brady and the other things that Patrick Mahomes have against him, is this dude was in one offense for 20 years. Think about that. And we always talk about that for the quarterback position. That is key, the stability in offense, the philosophy, the terminology, the language, making sure that everything is the same. You take a guy like Jay Cutler. How is this guy so smart, has all the physical tools, but he's not thriving? Because he was in 5, 6 different schemes, and his offensive coordinator was changing year after year. And there's so many other examples. Tom Brady had that. You got Coach Andy Reid. He's what, just turned 67, 68. How much longer does he have? You're not going to have the same continuity that Tom Brady had. And then when you talk about playmakers, how long are you going to be able to keep these guys around you? Now, obviously, Sammy Watkins, you know, he didn't play much last year. He was banged up, but he played a huge role in their path to the Super Bowl. He made some huge plays. He's not there anymore. He's in Baltimore. So there's so many things that is working against him. Stability in offense, stability in organization, stability with the guys in the locker room and who's taking the huddle with you. So I see this never happening, Joy.
Yeah, Brandon, I'm glad that you mentioned God and the blessings on Tom Brady, because I would say it's going to take a miracle for Patrick Mahomes to pass Tom Brady. And that's no disrespect to the talent that Patrick Mahomes is. We all know he's an incredible all-time talent and has the potential to have a legendary career and maybe the only person to really compete with what Tom Brady has done, although I think we're completely dismissing Joe Montana, who was the GOAT before Tom Brady. So I do think Patrick Mahomes probably has to pass Joe Montana before he starts getting into the Tom Brady territory, but that's neither here nor there. What you mentioned is exactly correct, Brandon. Like, he's going to need some consistency. Let's not be disrespectful to the Death Star. Let's not be disrespectful to what the Patriots did for 20 years.
Let's go.
Yes, Tom Brady just won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians, and incredibly impressive. But did we just forget what the Patriots did for the last 20 years, basically winning a Super Bowl on average every 3 years? Forget the talent that cycled through that time. Forget the defenses that Bill Belichick put together. How about just the offensive line? The legendary offensive lines that Tom Brady has had to work with. Also, Tom Brady has taken many pay cuts. For whatever the reason it is, he's taken pay cuts. So he's facilitated bringing in new talents. There's a lot of things that have to fall in place, which is basically a miracle. I think it's unprecedented in all of sports what we saw with the Patriots. It's a little disrespectful to just think you can copy and paste that just because you have an incredible talent like Patrick Mahomes. I know Nick Wright is going to hear this and freak out, but I love Patrick Mahomes. I love what the Chiefs are doing. I just think we get a little crazy with these GOAT conversations. There is a lot that Patrick Mahomes has to accomplish before we start talking about him being compared, let alone passing what Tom Brady is doing. It's a very Jordan LeBron conversation, and really not until like the last 2 years have people really leaned into, okay, LeBron might actually be able to pass what Michael has done. And look what LeBron has had to do to really legitimately be in that conversation. And then Michael just drops The Last Dance and we're like, oh yeah, actually he's still the GOAT. So there is so much, much that Patrick Mahomes would have to do. So many things that would have to fall in place outside of Patrick Mahomes for that to be accomplished. It's not that easy to win Super Bowls. And what the Patriots did is to say it's impressive is not even the right word, but it's a little disrespectful to dismiss what was done there.
You know, Joy, you talked about a miracle. I want to talk about a meeting I would like to have with the football gods. And I'm Brian, I'm going to ask you a question about luck and happenstance. If I had a meeting with the football gods and say, Wilds, how are you today? I'm the football god. I say, hello, football god. I say, what would you like? Do you have any wishes? I say, yes, I do. I would like to go undefeated, and I would like the helmet catch never to happen. It seemed like a lucky play, and I felt like we were the better team and we deserved to win. The football gods would say, all right, Wilds, but you have to trade something. You can't just get something for free. I said, I'll trade the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl. I felt like they should have handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch, and Russ deserved to win that one. And that would be the fair deal, and I would be happy, and the Seahawks would be happy. Now, the reason I tell this fictitious story about the football gods is because happenstance and luck and just the way the ball bounces has had a huge, effect on Tom Brady's career, whether it's Adam Vinatieri, whether it's the tuck rule, whether it's Hall of Famer Julian Edelman's, shoestring catch 1 inch off the ground. So Brian, Hall of Famer Julian Edelman, 2026, everybody book your tickets, the whole hotel room's gonna be sold out. So Brian, the question is this. In your career, have you ever looked at something and said, you know what, that was just lucky. And if the ball bounced another way, I could have gotten this record, or I could have been a champion, or I could have done this thing. How much I feel like we underplay happenstance and luck in the careers of football players in general?
Kevin, I've been waiting for someone to ask me this question for such a long time. I remember 04, 05 season. We're playing against your Patriots in Jacksonville.